Alright, here it is. Diablo 4 Season 10 PTR 2.4.0. What do we need to know? So the PTR is going to be available from August 19th until the 26th, so next Tuesday. And as we already know, Infernal Hordes Reborn. It's the season of chaos. So right up top, they're calling it Infernal Hordes Reborn. When they showed us the roadmap earlier this year, we knew it was going to be Infernal Hordes, but then they were calling it Infernal Chaos. So we'll see what the season's actually called. Infernal Hordes are hotter than ever. We're dialing up the intensity on this incendiary mode. Infernal Hordes Refined. We've done a significant rework of Infernal offerings revealed between each wave. Our goal is to try to make all offerings feel valid as choices for you as you start to stack them to focus on your run. We're doing this by balancing existing offerings, changing the effects of some offerings, and adjusting base monster populations. At the start of the Infernal Hordes, you'll now start with an Infernal offering to immediately stoke the embers and breathe some fire into your run. So right off the bat, before we start any waves, we're going to get to choose a power. I like that change. The Fell Council. The Fell Council has had some promotions. When fighting them, one of their members will now be the designated council speaker and gain enhanced abilities. Okay, so we had 3 council members. Now one of them is going to be a little stronger. Interesting. Chaos Monsters. Hell has unearthed a new monster family from deep its horrid maw. Born of smoke and brimstone, these chaos monsters provide a powerful shrine-like buff when killed. So if I remember correctly, we've seen these guys in the Infernal Hordes before, but I think they were red in the current version, but they're pouring out of this purple-looking portal thing over here. Okay. Chaos Waves. Hellfire brews the dastardliest maladies. Within the Infernal Hordes, you'll occasionally be offered the choice of a Chaos Wave within the Infernal Hordes from your Infernal offerings. You can expect an amount of Chaos Waves offered relative to the Infernal Compass tier each time you enter the Infernal Hordes. Chaos Waves completely alter the upcoming wave, imbuing havoc and intense challenge. These waves will have significantly increased difficulty, but reward far more ether should you be able to survive. Chaos Waves will have many different combinations to discover and master. Dodge deadly projectiles from Chaos Rifts, slay a rampaging Hellworm, or hunt down erratic ether goblins. Chaos awaits. Okay, so they're bringing these guys back from Helltide. Fight Bartuc, the Warlord of Blood. Rather than facing off against the Fell Council, you can choose to risk your hard-earned ether and throw down against the insidious, reborn Bartuc to complete your Infernal Hordes run. So instead of fighting the 3 bosses that we're used to, we can choose to fight Bartuc instead. And Bartuc's probably going to be a bigger challenge. Okay. The Fleeting Hordes. We're introducing a warming version of the Infernal Hordes to burn through earlier in your character journey. In pre-Torment tiers, you'll play this modified version of the Infernal Hordes to slay through before reaching Torment difficulties. Fleeting Hordes will be 4 waves in total, with limited Infernal offerings to keep the packs of vicious goblins under control. Upon completing the 4 waves, you'll fight 2 Fell Council members before you can spend your hard-earned ether for rewards. Alright, Bartuc beckons. Let's look at this guy. So right off the bat, Bartuc's got a lot of balls. These look like the ones that we deal with during Varshan, but they're probably not exactly the same. They probably just look similar. I'm curious if these are spinning around him or if they're shooting out. It looks like 3 different layers of them. So we got these like greenish glowy ones in here, and then these like purple arcane ones out here, and then even further we have like a reddish, similar to the arcane-ish ones, but a little more fiery. Okay, so it looks like we have some mechanics to deal with here. I like that. An infamous Rizarjay warlord known for his acts of cruelty performed in the Mage Clan Wars, Bartuc's perversion knows no bounds. He returns to Sanctuary with a new title, Warlord of Chaos. Each member of your party will need to spend ether to fight the infamous Rizarjay, Bartuc, who was once known as the Warlord of Blood. The first player who chooses sets the decision for the rest of the party. Bartuc will harness chaos portals to shoot projectiles at your location, master his tactics, and enter these chaos portals tactically to gain the upper hand. Upon defeat, Bartuc's rewards will appear on the ground, so you do not have to spend additional ether to claim these spoils. Okay, so similar to the last image, it looks like we're dealing with 3 different elemental types. However, this one shows like a bar of fire that also kind of looks like it could be spinning. So that almost reminds me a little bit of the beams in Andariel's room, but maybe not. We'll see. All right, next, harness entropy with chaos armor. The only certainty is that nothing is certain. No entity is free from chaos grasps. Human, Haradrim, angel, or demon all dance in its path. So rather than succumb to its erratic forces, harness this untapped power for yourself. Wait. Banished Lord's talismans on gloves? What are they're doing something crazy here. So you can turn an ancestral unique amulet into chaos unique gloves. So chaos combine. Okay, this is sounding neat. I want to read more. A new unique armor type, chaos armor, has entered Sanctuary. Chaos Armor is a more powerful version of existing unique items that come with a diabolical twist. Chaos Armor are unique items that appear as more powerful counterparts for other item slots, leading to entirely new ways of dispensing carnage. Chaos Armor can appear for the following item slots: helm, chest, gloves, pants, and boots. Chaos Armor will only appear as an item fit for anything other than its original slot. For example, Flicker Step won't have a Chaos Armor version in the boot slot. Chaos unique powers are also more potent than their normal counterpart, always appear at maximum power, and have at least one greater affix. Note, you won't be able to equip the same unique item between Chaos version and Standard. Okay, so this is going to add a lot to build diversity. So if you're currently locked into having a certain piece of gear in a slot that was mandatory for your build, now you're not going to be locked in as much. That's a really cool change. For example, you could have Fists of Fate drop as a helm instead of gloves, allowing you to equip a different set of unique gloves to compound these affixes in a combination that was previously unavailable. Super cool. So Hooves of the Mountain God, Chaos Unique Gloves, Ophidian Iris, Chaos Unique Helm, Word of Hakan, Chaos Unique Chest Armor. This is super cool. I really like this change. I think this is going to open up a lot of new builds. The following uniques will be available as Chaos Uniques. General Uniques: Banished Lord's Talisman, Crown of Lucian, Endurant Faith, Fists of Fate, Flicker Step, Godslayer Crown, Lochran's Talisman, Mother's Embrace, Paingorger's Gauntlets, Exval's Corroded Signet, Barbarian, Battle Trance, Gore's Devastating Grips, Hooves of the Mountain God, Mantle of Mountain's Fury, Overkill, Rage of Haragath, Ring of Red Furor, Ring of the Ravenous, Saber of Sazgal. Okay, that one's new. Don't blame me for butchering that. Tusk Helm of Joritz the Mighty, Ugly Bastard Helm, and Unbroken Chain. Druids, Erida's Inexorable Will, Earthbreaker, Fleshrender, Great Staff of the Crone, Hunter's Zenith, Kilt of Blackwing, also a new one, Malefic Crescent, Mjolnir Ring, Rotting Lightbringer, Tempest Roar, the Basilisk and Vasily's Prayer, Necromancer, Black River, Bloodless Scream, Deathless Visage, they have a typo here, Death Speaker's Pendant, Ebon Piercer, Gospel of the Devotee, new unique, Lidless Wall, Orphan Maker, Ring of Mendeln, Ring of the Sacrilegious Soul, the Hand of Naz, the Morticrux, and the Unmaker. Rogue, Beastfall Boots, Condemnation, Cowl of the Nameless, Death Mask of Nirmatruk, Grasp of Shadow, Orphan Maker, new unique, Pit Fighter's Gall, Saboteur Signet, Scoundrel's Leather, Shroud of Condurus, Sky Hunter, and the Word of Hakan. Sorcerer, Axial Conduit, Blue Rose, Essidora's Overflowing Cameo, Flame Scar, Fractured Winterglass, Galvanic Azurite, new unique, Ophidian Iris, Raiment of the Infinite, Staff of Endless Rage, Staff of Lamesson, Starfall Coronet, and Vox Omnium. And then Spiritborn, Balazan's Max Latal, Band of First Breath, Harmony of Ebewaka, Hesha e Kasungi, new unique, Jacinth's Shell, Loyalty's Mantle, Peacemonger's Signet, Ring of the Midday Hunt, Rod of Kapeliki, Sunstained War Crozier, Sepazantek, and Wushanak Pa. Okay, and then Seal Chaos Rift. What is this? Strange portals of crackling energy have appeared across Sanctuary, unleashing the Burning Hell's legions through their open maw. Chaos Rifts materialize in a few different ways. Chaos Rifts will appear in the open world of Sanctuary within Helltide. Kill the demons pouring from them and seal them away for a variety of rewards. They're a great source of chaotic loot, giving you additional experience, gems, and chaos armor in Torment difficulties. In extremely rare cases, when playing in Torment difficulties, you may even come across a mythic Chaos Rift, so similar to the mythic Goblin, I guess? Chaos Rift Nightmare Dungeons. Okay, these Nightmare Dungeons are rife with Chaos Rifts. These are bountiful sources of fleeting Hordes compasses. Wield Chaos perks. Here's this season's Borrowed Power. Guys, this looks a little familiar. This looks just like last season, but that's okay. So we're getting one big one and 3 small ones this season. I'm noticing in this graphic in particular, they have one of each color. I don't know if that's going to be hard locked or if that's going to be choose whatever you want. They're just demonstrating with 3 different ones. Something incredible has descended upon Sanctuary, imbuing your abilities with devastating effect. Chaotic magic distorts all that it touches, even you. Chaos is, of course, chaotic, and these perks often come at a price for the power they provide. Are we talking Kiss Curse mechanics? Because I generally like those. If you're not sure what a Kiss Curse mechanic is, it means it gives you something good in exchange for something bad. Chaos perks change how your skills function. Harness your finest buildcraft to create devastating combinations. There are 4 different rarities of perks: Magic, Rare, Legendary, Unique. You can equip 3 non-unique perks at once and 1 unique perk, okay? In addition to the perks every class can use, each class has access to a set of perks that are exclusive to them. Okay, that's a little more interesting. Each class has access to 16 perks, 4 of each rarity, and 4 class-specific perks. The following are class-agnostic perks. I'm not going to go through all of these. If you guys want to check these out, Diablo4.com, they have the full write-up. It's going to be way too much to go through everything here. All right, and then we have the new unique items. So Barbarians getting a new one-handed weapon, the Saber of Tzazgal. I don't know if I said that right. So its inherent bonus is plus 50% damage. It has strength, physical damage, core skill ranks, and warpath. And then the unique powers that you gain 3 to 5% increased damage for each damaging skill you have equipped, and an additional 6 to 10% for 15 seconds when each of those skills is used. So basically, they want us to be using damaging skills, probably to minimize the number of shouts we have on our bars. All right, then the Druid, the Kilt of Blackwing, which is unique pants. Could have guessed that one by kilt. Maximum life, ranks to Ravens, Ravens cooldown reduction, and Ravens deal double damage. I wonder what this is going to do. Ravens deal 60 to 100% increased damage, and shapeshifting into a different form or activating a companion skill summons a Raven that attacks nearby enemies. Summoning a Raven has a chance to call forth an unkindness for 10 seconds, increasing the number of Ravens summoned to 3 for the duration. An unkindness of Ravens? I like it. Ravens builds are on the menu, I guess? Necromancer, Gospel of the Devotee. It's a focus, all right? Intelligence, maximum life, basic skill attack speed, chance for basic skills to deal double damage. So a basic skill build. Your basic skills are empowered. Damaging an enemy with a basic skill causes them to take 10 to 30% increased damage from your other basic skills for 10 seconds. Interesting. Reap attacks 10% faster. Decompose now spawns a corpse every 0.5 seconds. Hemorrhage triggers an additional burst on the initial target, and bone splinters pierce through enemies. Rogue, we have the Orphan Maker. That's just a brutal name. Unique two-handed crossbow. 130% vulnerable damage as the implicit. Ranks to marksman skills. Ranks to exploit. Chance for marksman skills to cast twice, and vulnerable damage. The unique powers that basic and core skills that use this weapon now reload. Reload skills gain 250 to 300% increased damage, and every second reload skill gains twice this bonus. New keyword, reload. Have we ever seen a new keyword added with an item? That's interesting. Okay, skills with reload have a slight delay in which they cannot cast again. Their damage and reload speed benefit from 50% of your attack speed bonus. Sorcerer or Sorceress. Galvanic Azurite, unique ring. Okay, so the implicit is 12.5% resistance to all elements, plus an additional 5% to all elements, okay? Critical strike chance, lightning damage, cooldown reduction, and elemental synergies. Lightning damage leaves enemies magnetized for 4 seconds, causing them to emit crackling energy and increase all lightning damage they take from you by 40 to 60%. If 2 magnetized enemies hit each other with crackling energy, they pull each other together. Okay. So instead of Raiment pulling everything to you, they're pulling the monsters together? Could be neat. And then the Spiritborn, the Hesha-i Kasungi, unique gloves, attack speed, vulnerable damage, ultimate cooldown reduction, and gorilla skills, okay? The Protector can be invoked at range and pulls inward with its smashes. Enemies in its area take 30 to 50% increased damage from your gorilla skills, doubled while they're knocked down, or a boss. Okay, then they're just going through what's offered for the PTR, so we know there's going to be a boost. The little NPC dude in Kyovashad is going to be able to give you crafting materials and equipment, and you'll be able to max out all your glyphs and that kind of stuff. Okay, and then they just walk you through how to install the PTR. All right, and then way down at the bottom here, they do have the 2.4 patch notes. So if you want to get into the nitty gritty, all the buffs and nerfs and changes and stuff like that, all the balance changes, all of it, it should be down here. I'm just kind of scrolling through here looking to see if there's any kind of like major changes. I'm going to skip through all the class changes because that would take me an hour. Loot rewards. The overall chance for unique items to drop has been increased across all difficulty levels. Whispers will no longer drop magic and rare items in Torment difficulty. Good. Magic and rare item drops from side quest rewards in Torment difficulty have been replaced with legendary items or better. Reward quality in Helltide has been increased in Torment difficulties. Nightmare Dungeons. Slightly reduce the chance for specific Gem Fragment Herodric Reserve Nightmare Dungeon affixes to appear. Reduce the quality of items dropped from the Herodric Strongroom chests. Okay. I'm a little sad these are nerfed, but at the same time, of course, they're going to give better loot for the first season that they're in, and now it makes sense to bring them down to what they're permanently going to be. Infernal Hordes, the materials chests and gold chests no longer suffer diminishing returns. That's great. The greater chest of materials now costs 400 ether, up from 200, and awards Obdicite and gold in addition to gear. I like that change a lot. Unique items and legendary aspects that were primarily found in Infernal Hordes have been moved to the general pool, and the unique items have been added to Layer Boss unique pools. Okay, so this is actually a really nice change. I like that Infernal Hordes had a specific loot table. However, the difference between running a boss that takes 30 seconds to kill versus running an entire Infernal Hordes to get the same drop chance. It felt kind of bad if you had items locked behind that. Layer bosses. Okay. The greater layer boss pool is now split up among the 3 bosses. Each greater boss will have 2 of these. Okay, so there's 3 pools. Each of the bosses will have 2 of them. So there will be some overlap. So that means that every item you'll be able to get from at least 2 of the 3. Got it. Okay. The loot pools from the greater bosses, Duriel and Dariel and Harbinger of Hatred, have been broadened and now partially share pools between them. The loot pools for lesser bosses have also been slightly altered. Belial's Horde will no longer drop an Infernal Compass. Alright, so Duriel's new pool. Azurath, Banished Lord's Talisman, Blood Moon Breaches, Blue Rose, Cowl of the Nameless, Crown of Lucian, Dolmen Stone, Godslayer Crown, Ophidian Iris, Rod of Capeliki, Scoundrel's Leather, Sepizantek, Soulbrand, Tempest Roar, the Hand of Naz, the Third Blade, Tuskhelm of Jorts the Mighty, and Exval's Corroded Signet. And Dariel's new pool, Azurath, Bane of Ajad Den, Black River, Blood Moon Breaches, Blue Rose, Cowl of the Nameless, Dolmen Stone, Flame Scar, Flicker Step, Galvanic Azurite, Lochran's Talisman, Sepizantek, Soulbrand, Sunbird's Gorget, the Basilisk, the Umbercrux, Tybalt's Will, Tuskhelm of Jorts the Mighty, and Exval's Corroded Signet. Harbinger of Hatred is Banished Lord's Talisman, Bane of Ajad Den, Black River, Crown of Lucian, Flame Scar, Flicker Step, Galvanic Azurite, Godslayer Crown, Lochran's Talisman, Ophidian Iris, Rod of Capeliki, Scoundrel's Leathers, Sunbird's Gorget, Tempest Roar, the Basilisk, the Hand of Naz, the Third Blade, the Umbercrux, and Tybalt's Will. Riguar will now have the Mortacrux, Endurant Fate, and Hesha Kasungi. Lord Zir is getting Vox Omnium and the Orphan Maker, but losing the Bane of Ajad Den. Varshan is gaining Shard of Erythale, Rakanoth's Wake, Saber of Sazgal, Gospel of the Devotee, and losing the Ring of the Midday Hunt. Beast in the Ice is getting the Ring of the Midday Hunt and getting Kilt of Blackwing. And then Uravar is getting the Kesha Kasungi and the Gospel of the Devotee and losing the Bane of Ajad Den. Okay? Miscellaneous. The final 2 tiers of Horadric's Strongroom now require more attunement to unlock. Okay, so they're making it a little harder to finish it. Interesting. The stat count for all stackable items such as layer boss summon materials and consumables has been standardized to 100 max stacks, W. The item affix Lucky Hit Restore Primary Resource Percent has been replaced by Lucky Hit Resource Primary Resource Amount. So they're doing a fixed number instead of a percentage? Interesting. New gloves and weapons this affix would appear on will be affected. At 800 item power, this affix grants Lucky Hit up to 15% chance to restore 7 to 10 primary resource. New UI elements have been implemented to highlight progression through escalating nightmares. Okay. And then we got a bunch of bug fixes. And that looks like it. Alright, so we got a lot to take in here. So Infernal Hordes, we'll need to see what all the different modifiers for Infernal Hordes are, but it sounds like there's some cool changes in here. I'm still waiting for them to add additional Infernal Hordes maps, because I'm really getting sick of this one red room. I would love to see like a jungle Nahantu themed version of it, maybe an icy version in the Fractured Peak, something like that. But I get it, it's in hell, it doesn't make sense for that, but I just get really sick of that one room personally. But I think the big change here isn't even the Infernal Hordes. I think it's this stuff, the Chaos Armor. That's going to open up so many different gearing options. I'm really curious to see how builds look with this change. I don't know. I like it. What do you guys think?